Okay, we're getting back on the 65 heads here. So this is the one I screwed up the last night. So I'm going to go ahead and put a seat in this thing. I did a bunch of measuring, and this seat here is about maybe 20 thou deeper than it needs to be, but that's from brand new. This one here, we're about another 15 or so below that, maybe 20 on the outside. And then, but we got that big step there I'd have to cut out, which is probably another 15 or 20 more deeper at least. So figure at least 20 more. So I'll wind up with about a 50 thou less file install height than I would like. So instead of taking the easy route out and just cut it deeper, I'm going to go ahead and just put a seat in it. So the way to figure out the seat is you got to see what you got to work with. So on these panheads, you've got to cut the brass out, or you got to cut inside the brass, because when you hit the brass and aluminum mixed together, as you press the seat in it, it likes to buckle and fold over on you and cause a problem. It binds up, so it doesn't work. So what we got to do is we got to figure out how big we can go. So I went ahead and laid this out on top here. We can see about what diameter we're at, and we're going to go from that. So that works out to being about 13/16 of an inch, 1 13/16, which is 800. So I'm gonna look for a seat. We'll be back. Okay, we got to figure out the what we need for the valve seat in here. So we're gonna look in our drawer down here, try to find something to use. So we got a couple to choose from down in here. So we just have to figure out ones that are going to work for this application. So we know we need a 1 13/16 diameter. These are 2-inch. Let's see what we got over here. So that's 15/16, so that's too much. This one. Drop down to here. That's 7/16, that's not enough. There's a 13/16 right there. 8/17, because you got some press fit involved. It's a relatively low one. 5/16 height, that's probably a good one to use. What else do we got laying around here? There's one that's 3/4, that's too small. Alright, so that's the only one I got. So that must be the one we're going to use. It's probably why I got a whole bunch of them in there. Okay, so we're going to use that one. So I'm going to come over here. The camera over here in my way so you can see better. So I put it in the way, see better. So basically that's going to go right in there like that. So that's how it's going to go. Right there. So we have to figure out how we're going to cut that in there, how deep. This one's a 5/16 depth, so we want to be a little bit above 5/16, so it sticks up just a little bit, but not much. So that's what we got to figure out. Alright, this is the jig for setting up our diameter. So we got a bunch of pocket cutters up here. So that's these things up here. So these cut the head out for the seat. Okay, this one is 687 and bigger, which would be the right one we need. So you have to set this for the diameter we're going to use for cutting the seat out. So you got these 2 carbide cutters, cuts the head out. So I'm going to adjust this. This might already be adjusted for one. Let's measure it. Nope, it's 840, 839. Okay, so now this seat's almost the same size as the valve. There's not much difference in the two sides. So we're gonna have to do that because we can't cut the brass part away. At least not much. So, all right. So I want to measure this, see what we got. Okay, it's 8/17 and a half. 8/12 and a half is 13/16. So this is made for a 5 thou press fit. So for automotive application, that'd be pretty good. For Harley, you got to run a little bit more because it's going to expand. So I'm going to give an extra thousandths. So I'm going to set this up for 6. So you take the 17 and a half. You take 6 thou away from that. I'll give you 1.5 thousandths. So that gives you 8/01 and a half. I think. No. 10. It'd be 8/10 and a half, so it'd be 8/11 and a half. You got 1.5 thou. So we make it 8/11. So that'd be 6.5 thou press. So you go over here, it's got a mic adjustment on this. So 800 is down here. Where's 800 at? There's 800. There's our 800. So we want to give it 11. Do this on a table. I don't trust that thing on an uneven ground surface like that. Not a good idea to put your expensive ass tools on an uneven surface that way they can easily fall. Because this is over $1,000 for this little tool here, so best thing not to destroy it if you can avoid it. Okay, I move my number. So I'm going to go 8/11. It says a set screw for adjustment. Pull the bit on your finger, tighten, screw up. Then I always come back and see what it is. Lost 1 thousandths when I did that, so you do it again. Still losing 1 thou, 1 and a half. Well, it's going to keep losing the number, give it a little extra. So is that where you want it to be when you're done. Come out 11 that time. Nobody wants me again. Alright, we'll be back. Okay, get back to our seat work. Okay, I got my cutter set. I went up about 6.5 thou press. Should be anyway. Let's see, my tools out here. Bouncy spring here. Too stiff. Let's see what I got in here to use. There's a weak one. That'll work. Perfect. Okay, we're going to cut that hole off in one shot. We have to set our depth. Now this cutter has a little radius to it, so you can't go directly off the corner. You have to back it up a little bit. If you want the seat to be a little bit above the surface or flush, you have to kind of guess where it's going to sit, which gets to be interesting at times. Alright, so first thing I do is get it all set up over here. feed it down up here with your handle, right here, till it touches. You lock it down, I guess that's your depth stop right here. So what they tell you to do is take the seat, go like that, and you're done. The only problem is you have a radius on your cutter down there, and it's going to cut deeper than what that is, so there'll be a little bit of a lip like this. Now you can either have a lip over the top, lip in here, or straight. Ideally you want it flush. So you got to figure out how much you want to back it up a little bit. So we want to back it up somewhat, but we're not sure how much. So usually I come up at least half a turn. That's a good place to start, about half a turn. So that'll get me close to what I need. I'd rather have the lip on this brass part sticking up a little bit than have the steel sharp edge sticking up. If this is sticking up here on this edge, just a little bit more chance of doing some issues. Okay, so we got the depth set. Now I got to go ahead and start cutting it. We're going to use a little bit of cutting oil because it's a big cut. And we're going to cut it kind of slow it down a little bit, regular speed. Slow it down a little bit. And stopped. See where we're at. Definitely quite a bit. Double checked. Oil in there. Go and drop it down. Start the chatter, slow it down a little bit. Keep steady pressure on it. Stop early. I'll take a look to see what we're looking at down there in the cut. I want to see how much brass I got left. I don't want to cut the brass out, so I want to see how much I got left in there. Looks like we're going to have a decent amount in there still. Cut through the brass, the aluminum's right behind it, it's pretty thin, so you don't want to cut through the top of the port. It's better to shorten the seat up a little bit. Stop there. Good thing I stopped there. We're running out of brass underneath. I don't want to cut any more than that. We'll be just about all the way through it. Looks like we're about 290-ish. About 280 in, looks like. Seat's 315, as I recall. Yeah. So it looks like the seat's going to be a little bit above the height where we want it. But I don't want to cut through the brass on the bottom. I'm going to stop right there. It's already thinner than I wanted it to be. So you can see how thin it is underneath here. And there it's real thin. Get this camera to focus where I want it to. So you can see how thin that brass underneath it is. So when you get over where the port is, over here, you can see there's not much aluminum underneath that brass, so you want to stop right there. And we just have to thin the seat up a little bit. So we'll have to come by and cut the top of the seat off with the machine. I'd rather have that brass part about another 15th thou thicker than it is right now, but that's why I stopped early. I adjusted up the head a little bit higher again. Just because you're supposed to cut deeper doesn't mean you cut deeper on all this stuff. Alright, so that is now in there. So I'm going to blow that off. Airline. Of course the tripod's in my way as usual. I like making noise around here. Clean my tools off. I've got full of oil right now, so. Problem is cutting oil. Everything gets oily. Alright, put that away. Put that away. Wipe that all off. Make sure all the chips are out of the way. It's important that those are gone. Alright, so now we take our seat. We have to drive it on the driver. So, we need a driver. So this here is a driver. You have to put an end on it, because it just pushes right through. So you have to pick another driver. Here's this one. So you want to pick something that's about this, preferably less than diameter of the seat, but in this case the seat's going to stick up, so it doesn't matter. So this you hit with a big hammer. This pilot's off your pilot right here. So it pushes in straight. You're not just holding an angle like that. It's actually being held straight, which helps a lot. The seat has a little bit of a chamfer right here for starting purposes. And this side here has no chamfer because it's not made to go in that way. We use the Sun and Press Fit lube right here. So it should give us a clean install. We got a nice layer of brass all the way around. Looks like it's about 30 thou thick on the one side. Yeah, it's about the thinnest spot's 30. So if I went to a bigger diameter seat, I would have cut through probably. Which would be a pain in the butt to do. Okay, so now you just put the seat on top of the head where it belongs. Take your driver, lay it on top, and you beat it with a big hammer. Something about like this size here. Nice big one. So make sure it's centered. Give it a good hit. You're making sure it goes down evenly. It's definitely down hard, you hear it. So it's in there. Now on the intake side, I always heat the head up nowadays because they like to crack right through here. up into the intake spigot. The exhaust is a lot thicker, so you don't have to worry about it as much. So you can see how the seat's way up here in the air now. It's above our surface a little bit here, which I was hoping to avoid, but we'll just have to deal with that edge right there. So it's pretty much just going to be there. I already cut the head off for being a sunk valve, so that kind of made that a problem. So you look down in the seat, and you see how it's in there pretty good. Looks like it's in there straight. Nothing. There's no chip sticking through on the inside. A lot of times I'll shave a little layer off and stick inside. You can see them. This one has no inside thing sticking through. Yeah, a little bit right there. See that brass thing right there? That's an inside chip. See a little shaving right there? That came off the outside of the head when I beat it in. Somebody's sneaking in. So you don't want those sticking through when you do it. Oh, customers. Alright, we'll be back in a minute. See what happens. Alright, back to work. Okay, I got the seat in now. That's where we left off. So now what I got to do is I got to bore it out to the same size as what this one is on the ID. And then I got to go ahead and cut the seat down the same height as this, minus about 20 thousandths, 25 thousandths up. Because this one here is sunk down a little bit from stock, so we'll raise it up just a little bit. So I'll go ahead and do that. So I need to bore out the ID first. So that's the first thing on the list to do. Now we use the same cutter as we did the pocket cutting, just a different one. Same tools. Multiple functions, of course. So the first thing I do is measure it and see what size it is. So we'll take our caliper, measure the original one, at least the best as we can to get in there. Looks like I'm around 570 thousandths. So we got to do a 570 cut. Okay, this one here is 500 is the minimum, so we can use this one. So go back over to our seat cutter over here, setting gauge. Oops. Right over here. Turn this thing down to 570. Where's 500 at? 600. Should be 570 right there. Yeah, 567, close enough. You know, give it a little extra if you want. I have no problem giving a little extra. Alright, that should make it 71 if I did it right. Light one off. Yeah, 570 and a half. Yep, missed it by half a thou. Oh well. Okay, so now we got our cutter set. Over here. Let's see over here closer, maybe you'll see better, I'm not sure. Either way, you're in my way. Alright, so same cutter. Need a little bit shorter spring now though. I have one. Yeah, I don't see a shorter one anymore. We'll have to use this one. Okay, this caliper's got to get moved. Cutting the wheel. know something I forgot to do though. Kind of important. Many interruptions around here. Alright, you see how much material we're taking out. It's quite a bit. I didn't recenter the head after we beat on it. They always move quite a bit when you beat on them. Center it. And it looks like we moved it this way also. Let's see, I'll move this stuff out of my way a little bit. Oop. Alright, so now we gotta get the bubble to be straight again. So when you beat on the head with a big hammer, it does affect it. It moves quite a bit. Alright, let's see which way it's gonna move here. It's pretty close. Tighten it down. Let's see, before I do that, recenter up the pilot. Make sure it's still good. Alright, so now our bubble's on center. And we're good that way also. Probably give it one more hit. Right there. Alright, now we're recentered again. It's not that critical in a center hole, but it does matter when we do the seat. Alright, now we go back to cutting. Just like we were before. Let's see here. Smoky in here. All right. Now the ports match each other. Made a nice mess. Okay. Pull this out. Wipe off all the crap. suck out the turd that's in there. And we gotta blow it out too, so let's get the camera out of my way. Bang, bang, bang. It's noisy around here. Alright. Cut her all clean off. Bits are still holding up. Making them work hard though. All right. Check. Good. Good enough. All right, so now the seat's a little bit bigger than it used to be now. So now we bored out the center hole right here. So you see now it's flush with the inside of the seat down in there now. So we just cut it flush in there. So just like this one over here is flush on this side. This one's now flush on this side. And you can see a little shiny aluminum underneath there, brass, whatever that is under there. I cut a little bit on the corner. That was our mismatch. Okay, so now I can go ahead and cut the actual valve seat and get that part down. So I'm going to come off this head as a depth, and then I'll come over and transfer, but not cut quite that deep. I'll go down within a few thou and pull up about 20 thou from that at least. Let's see, we got to pull up about 20 or 30 on this side, so I'll leave at least 30 extra here. Flip it around, do a measurement, check the seat height, and then I'll make an adjustment from there. That way we're going to have it close to what we want. Back and forth. Just keep playing. Alright, so here's our cutter. We'll go over this head. Turn that off. Go down until it stops. Put our depth stop on there. Pull up. Transfer this one. And we got some kind of an idea of our depth up here. But there's nothing accurate between one head to the other, so it strictly is a guesstimate. So you don't want to keep cutting until exactly that one. It might be too much. You have to come back and check it before you get that far into it. So basically when I see the seat come in, I'll stop and do a measurement. There. In yet or not? Hard to tell. I don't think so. so I can see where I'm at. Yeah, I think I'm in a spot where I can do some checking now. Okay. Airline again. Okay, so now we pull this out and we do a valve height check. Rotate it around. Okay, so here's our valve. That's the front one. This one's the rear one. So go over and check our good head first. Give ourselves a measurement. Assuming it's not too dark to see in here. Okay, that one is, where's my number at? About 410 or so. We're down about 330 or so. So we need to be at least a little above 350 minimum. 360-ish. I think is what the intakes were coming in at, and they're a little bit on the low side. So about 20 more to go down, at least. So at least we have an idea where we're at now. Tighten it down. Good right there. Looking good there. Okay. Let's go ahead and give it some more depth. Okay, this is 15 thou. And this is our depth stop right here. That's pretty much what we had left to go. So it's actually pretty close. Number we're going to use. The only difference is this head over here was sunk a lot more than this one, so it just looks out there about the same height right now because this one's a lot deeper than this one is. A lot deeper. So it just worked out. It's working about the same numbers. You never know. See how close it duplicates the hole. So it wasn't that close. Another half a turn. To do something about my top edge there. I don't like the cut right now. I got that sharp edge in there I don't like, so I'll have to see about knocking that down a little bit. We have a cutter over here. I'll probably knock that down one of these. Let's see. We're going to need. So right now there's a sharp edge on the top of the seat I don't like, so let's see, we know this is 815. That's 2 inches, that's way too big. I guess we'll go back to this one. We got a little bit of a radius on here, so we actually have to measure what this is between the radiuses. About 750. You see, I figure we're losing 50 thou at least off our diameter. So if I add 50 to this, it should get me pretty close to what I need over there. So we'll go back over here and do our dimension change over here. This one was 810 before. Bring it around one turn. That's 50 thou. Not sure the radius we got on this thing. I think it's got a chip on it now. Yeah, this bit's got a big chip on it right here, and you can't sharpen these ones the way they're made. Not very easily anyway. Yeah, so this one's pretty well done. These are expensive too. They're like 35 bucks a bit. You gotta replace them in pairs. At least you're supposed to. Not that I like doing that. Okay, thinking here, trying to think. Yeah, we'll try this. I think I'll be a little bit too big, but we'll give it a shot, see what happens. I gotta make sure I don't cut the seat away though, that's the next important thing. Seat's right here. Maybe. Okay, what do I do with my cutter? Right here. Springy knee. That speed. Don't think I can cut that all off. Not still have a valve seat. So I'll go ahead and lap the valve now. Get an idea actually where the seat is. This is the, shows front. Where's the exhaust at? What did I do with the other valve? right in front of me. Rear. Valve jobs take me a long time to do for some reason. Way too picky. Sounds good. Lines up good. Seat's right up there where I want it to be, like it's supposed to be. That's good. And yep, can't cut no more off of that. We cut right to the top of the seat, like that's where I put my red mark on there. So you can see the gray mark right there. You can see that top cut I just put right there. It's right on top of the gray mark. It's just barely above it. So you can't really go any higher, cut any more. There's a little bit of a lip right here. Get it back for it if you can see it. So it's right there where my thumb is. A little sharp edge, which I don't like. That's because I cut the head back before I raised the valve up. So, but I can't cut this any lower because the seat will drop. I have to drop the valve down. At some point it'll come back in, but it won't be for a couple more valve jobs. So I have to live with that edge right there. Okay, that's assuming this is the height we're going to run it at. So now we can go ahead and measure the installed height of the valve again and see if we're about in the right spot. If we cut the seat deeper, we can cut this a little bit deeper too. Actually, they go hand in hand. You cut one, you can cut the other. Okay. And one valve. Yeah, we're right there at about 365-ish, 370. That should put me right at the minimum height I can be at for my installed height. Check an intake valve. Here's one of our intake valves. These are about 20 thou short of the number I need. So if we're anywhere near this number, we're having a problem. Yeah, this one's down about 325-ish, so we're definitely good. Okay, so I think the head's good. We can take it out and actually do a real measurement on it. I think we're in the ballpark now. So we repaired one screw up. So now we got a hardened exhaust seat in the head, which is not a bad thing in itself. Just wasn't planned. Okay, let me get this out, cleaned up, and we'll come back.
Was this repaired here?
The whole thing was repaired.
There?
Alan's trying to get me sick over here.
I don't think so.
I do. Here, say something.
I'm not
Yeah,
getting
see,
anybody
it sounds like
sick.
he's sick. Just sit down and listen to him. He's got goo dripping out of his ears too.
No,
I
I got a deburr in my throat.
got a deburr in his throat.
Yeah.
I got a deburring tool. That'll help.
That'll work on there.
Okay.
Tatro, let's stay focused here now.
I'm gonna work on some heads. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Customer will be here any minute.
So I had to shorten the valve tip down here to make room for more installed height. See how thick this shoulder is here, and see how thin this one is over here now. I had to cut it down. I'll never get where you might see it. I needed more installed height for these bigger valves sticking up so high. They were a problem. Okay. Now I got a high valve and a high valve. Now I got to see if we got valve clearance issues. That'd be a bitch if we did. Okay, there's 200. Yeah, these valves are the same.
Huh, we're finally getting it right.
We got some valve to valve clearance. All right. These valves are the same height.
That's what we're looking for, isn't it? The holy grail.
Not really, because that one was too high. I'm gonna have to shorten this guy up too. Okay, which valve is this? This is R. That's the R. I think that's enough. That valve over there. That looks like an R. Alright. Light test. Okay, there's no light. Is that good? So you're not filming, so you can't see what I'm doing. I'm doing a light test. You look up here and see if there's any light. If there's no light up under there, I have to turn this light off. Where's the valve at? I lost my valve. So you get light up in there. If you see that light up in there, the valve is open. So you push down and rotate on it. No light is good. Exhaust. Hole intake. Alright, exhaust you can see a lot better. Can you actually see up in there? See that little light up in that area there? So you rotate the valve. If there's no light, now you get in the dark. Get in as dark as you can. See if you see any light, you can see it. So, alright, I'm assuming that's good. I didn't see any light in the camera. Alright, Alan, do you like that?
Yeah.
Light tight is good.
Of course, you said I like everything.
Yeah, that's why I work on twin cams. I love them. Anybody believe that?
Just buy a new cylinder head. You're gonna work on any twin cam cylinder head. Go buy a new one.
Okay.
They're still available.
Where's our valves at? So, first thing I do is check our installed height. And we need to, what's that number note yesterday, Alvin?
I don't recall.
You don't remember the number we needed?
No.
Damn.
Better turn your light back on.
Is the light off? Oh, geez, it's dark in here. We need 385. 1.385. So it looks like we're at 160-ish 5. But I got an extra 20 thou of that low valve spring over there, which we're going to be using. This is our intake valve. Goes over there. I'm going to use this valve spring because that's the lowest one. Collar and keeper goes with it. Should be a lower collar. Here's the lower one. And that's one done. Now we do the exhaust. How do you know what install height is, Alan?
I'm just an enthusiast learning here. I don't know that answer.
You didn't watch the video yet?
I did not.
Oh, you missed it? So there you go. That one's up there about 380-ish change. So that's right at the limit. takes the standard valve spring. Okay, that was the one that we didn't have to do anything with. So, all right, so we got the numbers figured on that head. That one's good. Now we do this one. Where's the valves? Trying to lose those, don't you?
Installed already.
I saw you sneaking away with that. Okay, the way you find out how installed one. Take the valve spring. You go like that and you crush it with the two collars in it. You squeeze it down until it's solid. And you go in here and you measure it and get a height. This one was 825 or 830. 830. This one's 830. You add in 50. How much is that?
880.
880. Then you add in your valve lift, which is 480, 475. What's that come up to?
12.5 something.
No.
No.
Because I won 385.
Okay.
I did that yesterday. Actually, it'd be less than that because it's 10,000. It'd be 175. So we need to have 375 minimum clearance.
Who builds those springs?
These are cranes.
They're cranes?
Yeah, that's why I got more extra clearance. The S&S, we only get like 880 clearance. This is 830, so an extra
What do you
50
prefer?
I prefer these because they're a little bit stiffer and they get more coil bind clearance.
Okay.
So it makes it easier to put the motor together high lift with high valves.
Is this stock lower end on this bike? It's just a good set of cylinder heads on it, huh?
That's a good lower end. I don't know if it's any good. I built it, so I'm not sure.
It's good.
Did it years ago.
How many miles on it since? And how come it needs a top end already?
It's pretty much been sitting on my workbench over there on my shelf, so I don't think we got any miles on it yet.
Oh, okay.
Does driving in the back of the truck count?
Usually.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now we got a number here. So we're up here about right now it's 370 area. So we're right at the limit on that, which is good because I had to cut the guide down for that clearance. Because I was about 25 thou off before. So this valve guide here is cut thinner than the stock guide over here is. So that's because I had to shorten it up a little bit. I had no choice. Okay, which collar keeper did I just use? Probably use this stuff because it's laying here. That's this spring. And that was an intake valve. So that goes over here. Intake valve. Collar keeper. Intake valve. Okay, now we got the spring left. This one here was a 35. So we can be as low as 180 on this, or 380 I mean, on this exhaust. Otherwise I gotta sink the valve and cut the collar down here. Somehow you gotta come up with more clearances. And these are genuine Harley keepers, which give us our lowest number, or most clearance. Okay, so what do we got on this one? And we are right there at the ragged edge. About 75, I think, so we're right there. It's pushing it. So we're about maybe 5 short. I can live with 5 short. After things wear in, and usually after you put the spring tension on it, you gain that extra 5 or 10. So I can live with that. It'll work. You got to know what you can live with and what you can't live with. All right, so this is the one we put that seat in there. So, like I said, this seat's about 20 thou more than what the other seat was, a little bit taller. So even though I screwed the head up, I actually made it better because now I got a higher seat and I got a harder material. It'll live longer. The only disadvantage is I got that lip on the top there I don't like, but oh well. And I wasted a day doing it, so there you go. Okay, I'm gonna go clean those up, and we'll be back.